Hello one, hello all, it's the Sleeves Over Hands, Ghost of 'em all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine. Ariana Grande is a singer, songwriter, and this is her latest album, her seventh to be exact, and it's certainly been a while since we've heard from Ariana Grande, as we last heard from her in her 2019 release, Positions, which admittedly for my taste I did feel underwhelmed by it in terms of lyrical direction, especially the production. I just felt like it had really no life to it. I felt like it was very stiff and didn't really complement the horniness that album was going for. Not to mention, I felt the women empowerment of that album should have been bolstered, but I felt like she really just brought that empowerment to herself. And I know, I'm sorry, I just prefer the sassiness and the pillowy production and great songwriting on Thank You Next, where it's got so much attitude, it's got so much flavor, I can't get enough of it. And a very personal album too, and I feel Ariana is going in the personal direction once again, this time on a different type of note. While she was speaking to her exes on the last one, she wasn't exactly married and then divorced, as she's going through a ugly divorce right now, just airing out her dirty laundry in response to the divorce of Dalton Gomez, who she's been with for 3 years, who is a real estate broker. And given the reputation and wrongdoings of these type of guys, can't really blame her. But no, seriously, it is definitely a unfortunate circumstance, as she now has to pay $1.25 million for her prenuptial agreement, which is a highly unfortunate situation. But also there's someone new in her life, Ethan Slater. Yep, SpongeBob himself. Well, not to be confused with Tom Kenny. And I would also like to speak on the title of this album, Eternal Sunshine, which is also in reference to the Jim Carrey movie, and with Ariana Grande being a huge fan of Jim Carrey, I could see why. The only thing is, I don't think there's really a consistent theme with the title, but to Ariana's credit, she does reference it to the title track on this album. But given how much she is obsessing over her ex on this album, which it was a rough thing, it's 3 years, I get it, but due to Eternal Sunshine erasing the memories of the couple that broke up, she's not exactly doing that here. And that's not to say there aren't highlights on this album, there definitely are. Like on the explosive, fantastic display of vintage disco on the song Bye, where we're getting this display of gorgeous strings. I love how we get these instrumental breaks with her beautiful vocals in between. It really sounds to me like something Barry White would have done off of Can't Get Enough of Your Love, or the Shaft theme from Isaac Hayes, where she's letting this dude know it's over, breaking it off, kicking you to the curb. And with how much punch, personality, and the stickiness of the hook, I'm surprised this wasn't a leading single. And next we have the conflicting Don't Wanna Break Up, that has this boom bap style beat with twinkling keys, kind of reminding me of, in a way, something Janet Jackson would have gone to back in the day, with very angelic vocal melodies thrown in here, where she feels it's time to break things off in the situationship that she's involved in, as she's dreading the thought of ending the relationship that this situationship could lead to, because she doesn't want to relive that trauma and nightmare again. So she'd rather preemptively just bring it to a close. There's also True Story, that has a similar melody, I would say, to Destiny's Child, Say My Name, that has these warped drill-like chords surrounded by these pitched down atmospheric vocals, really creating another layer of instrumentation. And I also love the multi-vocal refrain that just feels like it's panning channel to channel, and there's just another Ari walking in, another Ari walking in. Give me love, give me love, give me love. And also, as she gets into her sassy bag once again, in a sarcastic way, drawing the illusion that her ex is trying to draw of her, falsely depicting her as sneaky, cheating, manipulative, and an overall unfaithful person. And with her rebuttal saying, okay, this is the role you want me to play, this is the role you think I am, lights, camera, action. And there's also a track that is probably the most unique track on this album, Imperfect for You, with these watery guitars that creates a very woozy psychedelic feel, with a eccentric falsetto melody into the hook, Imperfect for You, where Ariana shows her thoughts of saying, hey, you know what, maybe this relationship ending was a good thing because normally I would feel like I am in disarray, I would feel like I can't function, I would feel like it's the end of the world, but I'm not feeling that here. So maybe this is a good thing that it ended like this. Now, as far as the tracks go that I'm not too crazy about, it's really more of the production and narrative angle that I wasn't really too crazy about. Like the very toxic The Boy Is Mine, as Ari is pouring salt in the wounds of the past partner that Ethan Slater had, and it's a very messy situation if you've read into this, as she's adding fuel to the fire of this disaster Ethan Slater and her have created, as Ethan was married to his high school sweetheart, had a baby with this woman, and then decided to creep off of Ariana, and now Ariana is basically throwing it in her face, and I feel it's really petty and below her to do this, especially if this woman really has no accessible, effective platform to stand on, and she does. And Supernatural, as much as I think this is a great standout track, it's a shame that it doesn't really fit the narrative of this album, as punchy and as bright and as catchy as this song is, and Ariana is singing her ass off on the back end. I just wish that this would have landed on an album where this would fit into context. And as much as I dig the sentiment to Yes and, I feel the album version just pales in comparison to the remix, and the solo version just sounds like dressing room fodder. Because the one with Mariah is fantastic, it has so much punch, it has so much personality, and I feel it. Especially with Mariah being a huge influence to Ari. So L in the decision makers here. And the track I Wish I Hated You really just comes off as an interlude. And We Can't Be Friends, I feel Ari is just harping more on this situation, which she can do. I just find it kind of tacky, especially when this is about getting someone out of your life, out of your head, and not to mention how flabby the bass is on this track and how lackluster the drums are on here. It just comes off as an EDM cliche from the 2010s. So yeah, overall, I think this album should have offered more than it gave, especially given the situation, especially how this could have been an experience from Ari's heart and mind to our ears. And with this whole chain of events being very disappointing, I think Ari did a decent job at putting together something here. But I wanted more. I wanted more consistency. I wanted more consistency with the writing. I wanted more consistency with the production. But yeah, overall, I just thought this album was okay. Maybe next time around, less toxicity. Maybe next time around, a better album overall. And I was hoping for more compelling writing to a situation like this. But yeah, I'm feeling a 2.5 out of 5 on this album. If you've given this a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? Let me know. Caspa, Gothic Ghost, Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine. Till we meet again.